Hey, everybody. Woo. We are online doing our tech and technology spirit-led tech workshop today. And we thought we would give you a little bit of a summary of what we did. We had a great conversation, an hour and a half with all the folks online. But we thought that for this video that it might just be easier if we gave you kind of a synopsis. Synopsis?
Sure,
of everything that we did in maybe a little bit of a snappier way. Because, hey, if you're doing tech, you're a very busy person. You have a lot on the go right now, so we want to honor your time. I'm Amy. This is
Casey. Hi.
Casey Van Wensem.
I have to do it myself. Hello.
Yeah, I know. Wow. And we are partners in life and also partners doing music ministry here at Oak Bay in beautiful Victoria. And we have oak trees surrounding us. I think we have a squirrel and a mouse in the sanctuary today. So
may or may not be alive.
Yeah. We are hoping that we have more people also back in the sanctuary. And we are doing that hybrid thing that you are probably already doing. We are discussing Zoom options and some food for thought. So, we'll try to say a little bit of the conversation that other folks brought, and we'll give you a little bit of what we were saying. And then we are also always here if you want to email us with clarification afterwards. It's all about we are each other's support network, and we've all gone through an awful lot this last year. So some of the things that we talked about as a group, we talked about game changers and still things that are challenging. And so just so you know what other people are thinking and that maybe you don't feel so alone out there, we talked about how Zoom has been this amazing place for things like prayer requests. People who are like Casey over here, and are rather introverted, Zoom has been potentially a really positive place. They're not getting talked over all the time, like in person. Do you want to speak, Mr. Introvert? He's like, I'm happy being quiet. Yeah. But I will use the chat box. Those have been amazing things that we've seen. People have said joining other communities, like if you're feeling like you need more juice to go off of, you're feeling dry. Some people have said they have been, being an interloper at other people's Zoom communities. That's been good. We've had people who have done parties online, like a Halloween party, and I think that could be great. There's been lots of dialogue. People have been engaged. And so, there's also even an idea, someone had a half an hour before the service, they started their Zoom. And so people just got to chatting in a really organic way. And that's been really positive. So lots of good things. Across the board, we're finding that hybrid is the question. How do we do that? Not just well, but how do we do it in a very faithful, worshipful way that isn't just paying lip service to this hybrid model, but is like authentically engaging people. So lots of other people are wondering those same questions. We had questions about how to do music well, how to do licensing. So we're going to just, touch on some of those things today. And you are not alone, really is the bottom line. So we are musicians. One of the things that we do is worship music, I imagine. And we wanted to just start by talking about how to do good audio, because that was one of the main questions. And so we just want to highlight, if you don't know already, and about half the people generally do, on Zoom, there is something called original sound, or sometimes it's called high fidelity music mode. And so if you haven't done this already, this is really essential for taking away that terrible sound that Zoom does. You can see I'm twitching a little bit. Trauma. So if you haven't, you need to go into your preferences, sound preferences, and in your sound preferences, there will be a place to enable original sound or high fidelity music mode. And sometimes PC and Mac can be a little difficult. So we can also include in our cheat sheet that you'll be getting at the same time as this video, there will be a PC and a Mac version for how to enable. So what you would just want to do is you're going to, on the upper left hand of your Zoom screen, once you have your original sound set up in your preferences, then every time you're going to do music, you just turn it on. So original sound on, and that will make it so you don't sound all the time. Now, we want to say that has limitations, right, Casey?
Yeah, as we heard from others on the call, that really you're only as good as your weakest link. There's the camera. And usually that is not only your internet connection, but the internet connection of everybody else in your Zoom call.
Yeah, which you know.
Right. One workaround that we found works a little better is for those who are comfortable and privacy issues being considered, to have your stream going to YouTube or Facebook or another live streaming platform. You can stream your whole Zoom service onto there live. You can record it and post it later.
Again, that's just in the preferences on Zoom.
Right.
So you can go, it's in preferences, but also at the bottom right-hand side of Zoom, there are 3 little dots. And if you click on those, then there is a takedown menu that will lead you to like YouTube and Facebook Live. And you just need to connect your accounts, or maybe make a YouTube account. It's free to do that. So we do that. We run through Facebook Live and Zoom and YouTube as well. The other thought, and we're just going to give you all the goods, one of the things we discussed was just checking with your internet provider. Even if you don't have great internet, you can go back to them and ask for higher upload speed. Now, when we say that our internet is slow, often what we are actually, and what internet providers are used to providing, is download speed. But they're not always expecting you to be uploading yourself. So even if you don't have great internet, you can go back and say, hey, tell us, could we have higher upload speed? And we've, even 60, I think we're at about 60.
That's a lot, yeah.
It is a lot, but you can do even a lot on like 30. So just phone them, have a chat, and see if that's something that can be improved. Obviously, you probably know about Ethernet connections, so wherever you can hardwire, the better. Yep. Okay, so the other part of sound is that often we forget that when we're using Zoom, we don't just have to use our little computer. Did you know that your mixing board that you already have in your church could probably interface with your computer with just a little bit? So if you're lucky enough to have a digital board like we are, although ours is like 10 years old, but if you're lucky enough, there's often a USB out, and you can just connect that into your computer and then click where that little microphone icon at the bottom of Zoom, there's like a little arrow beside it, and you click that, and then you're just going to say, oh, the name of my mixer, it should show up.
You may have to download a driver first.
You may need to download it, but we believe in you. So you can Google driver for, and then write in the name of your mixing board. If you don't have a USB out, you can also buy what's called an audio interface. So basically, if your mixer is like old and analog, you need to convert it into a digital signal, and you would do this with an audio interface. Casey likes the...
I like Mackie audio interfaces. There are many.
Zoom works too. There's a Zoom interface. Different Zoom than the Zoom we're talking about.
If you can, I would run it in stereo a lot.
Also, the cameras.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hello.
We have a number of different
part
cameras.
of what we're talking about. I think we're used to running Zoom in mono with one microphone, but it is possible. It makes a great difference for playing music to run a stereo feed.
Mm-hmm. So those are a few things that can help make your audio better. If you are like us and your music is just a challenge because your pianist doesn't have great internet connection, you can also just ask them to record on their phone, and then you can play the video, and that will take away a lot of that Zoom sound, especially if you have also original sound. So you kind of have to test it out and see what works for you. So there are ways that Zoom can have better music. It's still not always going to be great depending on your connection, but hopefully that helps a little bit. So now we also we're going to switch our cameras. Hello, we're here now. There we are. And we're also going to pull up, this is Prezi, it's an interactive PowerPoint model, and it's just kind of fun. So here you are. You see, and I switch sides. You can see spirit-based tech, and this, we're just going to discuss a few more things, and I apologize, Casey may disappear a few times. He's there. We can see him. There we are. Okay, so let's talk about best practices. We just actually talked about music and audio. Your microphone, your mixing board, your high fidelity music mode or original sound, depending on what they call it. Echo cancellation is the thing we haven't really talked about. You can click that box. That will make it a little better.
Not when playing music.
But not when playing music.
That's right.
Casey, whenever you talk, you're going to have to just get close to me, which is fine. Yep. You can get close to me. There we are. Okay. So the next thing we wanted to discuss, one of the big things that I am passionate about is eye contact. And eye contact, I don't think, has been discussed enough when we talk about the pandemic and the exhausting last, 16, 18, what are we at? How many months? So many months. I think we've all gotten used to Zoom, and one of the big downfalls of Zoom really is that in order to look at all the boxes of people, you're missing that eye contact. I'm no longer looking at my digital camera, I'm looking at the people in my boxes. And I think there is something deep down that can really burn people out, just like when you don't have really good quality audio, right? Like it's the eye contact and the audio, which are subconscious things that if we don't have those, I think we start to feel a little dead inside, or at least I do, and maybe I'm just dramatic, but it can be quite stressful over and over. So I really just encourage you as a team, and maybe this is a matter of training your minister or whoever is talking, to find that camera wherever it is and really be intentional about looking at it. We actually have set up some cameras. We have DSLR cameras, which were in just people's closets, and we turn them into virtual cameras, which you can do as well with a USB. And so that's cool. But we've gotten really good at making sure, and if you could just change the camera for me, making sure that we're always cognizant of where that camera is and looking at it. There we are. There we go. And if you're in a hybrid setting, one of the things we have 3 different cameras set up, and it's just really important for the presenters, the music ministers, the ministers to be taught and educated. And maybe that's your job. Maybe you are the minister, or maybe you are the tech person. You need to kind of train people on how to do this, is looking at the camera just like we would anyone. If we didn't look at someone in the congregation, by the end, that person would feel, I think, just not valued, right? And so one of the ways we do that is we look at the camera, we say hello to everyone else in person, in live worship. Hi, everybody. And then hi, it's so good to see you. And just making sure that we have that eye contact. This camera is also set up how we like to do it, which is try to get high and then look down, because, it's slimming. We could all use a little bit of that. And also making sure you have great lighting. We have a little light that we bought on Amazon, right? And making sure it's focused. And again, if you can buy a DSLR, we got a Sony that was like $600, but you can also get, people, they might have a Nikon that they haven't used in 5 years. That can actually be a really good digital camera. You can even use an iPhone with a long cable that connects, and you can use a couple iPhones. They will both work. Now, how will they work? How do should we show them our most exciting, the thing that we really care most about?
Yes, let's.
Yeah, great.
There are several ways, but here's some of our favorites.
Oh, we're stuck in our feedback loop again.
Last time.
It did do this last time. Yeah. Hold on. Now, this is, but I did mention that this is Prezi. And, what? Wait, where are you going? We got to get out of here.
Okay, fine.
Hold on. There we go. Okay. Possibility teasers. This is the thing that if you get nothing else, this is potentially what could change things for you. It certainly did for us. Right? Hey, look, I took a breath. Moment of quiet. Imagine. Okay, the big thing that really helped us go from pre-recorded to live was actually, let's go to the next slide, was a kind of intermediary program called Ecamm Live, and you can see that there, right there. So Ecamm Live is, and vMix if you're in PC land, and by the way, there are lots of different types of programs, but these are just two that we really enjoy. They're user-friendly. We have teenagers running our tech. We need volunteers, people who are still like, how do you use a mouse? And so we need to be really user-friendly. They're all very capable people. But we found that Ecamm Live and vMix are both kind of this like secret thing that we use and sneak it into Zoom. Does that make sense? So if Zoom is good, and if it kind of works, like it gets us from point A to point B, we kind of think of that as like the Ford Model T, right? Like put. It like gets us there. It doesn't have any brakes, but like it's okay. We've only had a couple accidents. Like, it does the job. What we've kind of moved to with Ecamm is kind of like the Tesla, the Model S, if you will, of technology. Do you like my car lingo?
Good one.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not really into cars, so I was doing my research on the drive here. But basically, Ecamm is something that we use to run everything. So it has capability to have multiple different cameras. You can do like lower thirds, so where you write like minister's name, like Michelle Slater. You can run videos with it. It's just a lot slicker.
Song lyrics,
right? And you can switch between things very quickly, and you can, we're actually using it right now. So Ecamm Live or vMix. And then you enable in the preferences on Ecamm or vMix, you enable the virtual camera. So it, at the top or in the preferences, it's like virtual camera on, virtual camera off. So you enable virtual camera, and then you go back into Zoom. Hold on. You go back into Zoom, and you click on the little camera icon, and then it comes up as a source. So I click on the camera icon, and I go, oh, Ecamm Live. And I click on it, and suddenly I have all of these capabilities. So this allows me to make really high quality. There's Casey.
Hello.
Really high quality, beautiful presentations with high quality audio, with multiple cameras. I would show you the other camera again, but it just died. And still have everybody on Zoom. So you can kind of have it all in that sense. So that's the virtual camera option on Ecamm or vMix. If you want, you can use OBS. That's the open source one. I just find it not very easy to use, so we actually do spend the money to get an Ecamm Live subscription. So yeah, that was really helpful for us as we moved into hybrid models. Do you want to talk about other hybrid model thoughts?
We had thoughts about integrating the in-person service with the online service. I think
everybody's asking that right now. How do we do that?
Where everybody is. Part of the advantage of the virtual camera is that you can use a multi-camera system. So you're not just having one camera as your source in-house, as it were, for your congregation. You can have your minister, your music team, your reader, all on separate cameras broadcast into your one little Zoom box. And that also
we do that with Ecamm Live.
Avoids the problem of having multiple devices connected to Zoom in the same room with the resulting feedback, which I'm sure we've all heard.
Again, the COVID trauma.
Yes, one good rule we heard in the session was one microphone
And one speaker per room.
per location, which is a great rule for all of us to remember.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Way to not lose your mind during COVID.
That's
yes. Right. Yeah. So one of the limitations that we've been finding, and we have, just so you know, we've done hybrid pretty much the entire COVID. Like we've been live streaming. And then when people are allowed in, there's been people, and then, it's just been hybrid, fairly authentically. We have lots of people who are joining us from different places, just like I'm sure you do. So that's been going really well. And the way we've been doing that is using Ecamm Live and having multiple cameras and training our people to make sure we're looking at the camera. And we also have lots of people helping out. That's a huge part of it. Like if you were doing this by yourself, it's probably time to say, hey guys, hey folks, friends, I am just so tired. I need some more people. We probably have 10 people on our team on a Sunday morning.
Yep, and not everyone here at the same time. That allows for some rotation so that people can just attend worship some days and not have to be working or volunteering.
Because I don't know about you, but I feel a little burnt out. I think a lot of us are feeling totally done by this point. And it's really important that your mental health and you as a spiritual person have your needs met as well. And it's not being selfish. It's okay to take some time for yourself. So if you're finding just like I'm doing it all, it's probably time to get some other people in. And so some of the tasks that other people can do in a successful hybrid model is something like moderator. So rather than you having to be the minister and also watch the chat and also do everything else, having someone whose main job is just to answer the chat. Oh, good morning. I'm so glad you're here. Am I too loud?
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, this person can't hear. Just having someone who's making sure that both the online people and the in-person are communicating well. So we have one of those people at home that does that. And then we also have someone in the sanctuary who reads off the chats, who reads off the prayer requests, who is just kind of being the voice of people at home. We have someone doing the sound. We have someone doing Ecamm Live. We have the minister. We have the music team. There's just a lot of people. And so we encourage you to try to train. And I know that takes more energy, but try to share some of that load if possible.
Another good perspective we heard was to just take on one thing at a time. Maybe, a lot of people were looking back and seeing just how far they've come in the last year and a half or so. But really, a lot of that was maybe 1 week learning some new technology and figuring out a problem and, just not getting the whole package figured out at once.
And so what we were also talking about is it's okay to have limitations. And as people, we have limitations. Sometimes they can be really helpful, right? Like, I have a limitation so my finger doesn't go all the way back. Like there's this muscle that keeps me there. And I think with tech, we need to be open about some of those limitations. And one of the things we're finding is, I think we all have this idea that hybrid could be where people are in the sanctuary and then you can get the congregants up on the PowerPoint talking, and as they talk, their video comes up and their voice is heard. And you know what? That's a brilliant idea. And if you have lots of money to hire a team, maybe they could do that. Haven't actually seen that happen, even with the professional teams that we know. But I'm not sure technology is quite there yet, honestly. And when we try, we could have the Zoom audio go into the mixing board, but then you're looking at major feedback issues. So you'd have to be really cognizant about having someone, well, how would you do that without getting feedback?
It's a challenge.
Yeah. Muting and yeah.
Right. And depending if your Zoom audio is being played through your house. It might be played through the same mixer, which could cause all sorts of other issues. So,
yeah. If you want to do that, we'd love to hear how you're doing it successfully. We have found that hasn't been really easy for us to figure out, even with a lot of resources. So we would love to hear what you're doing. But it's also okay to like have people use a chat box and, or to have a specific time when they're allowed to talk, and you could maybe figure that out.
Or to have part of your service on Zoom and part of it not on Zoom.
Yeah. So that was one of the main things in this workshop too, is just validating where you're at. Because you have learned so much in a year and a half, as Casey was saying. And sometimes it's okay to be where you're at. The more that we can do something well on both sides, both online and in person, that's great. But there's time. And, Christianity has survived for eons, and I'm sure it will survive this as well. So, yeah. I think those are the main key things. We have a cheat sheet or a tech menu, if you will, of like what we've done and how the pieces kind of fit together, if that's something that you're looking for. So some different, like your appetizer, could be like the computer system, and what are a few different computer systems, and which are for like the congregations who have lots of money, and then for the congregations who are like, look, we have nothing, like actually nothing. So we'll send that out to you. Just on finances, we've also been struggling to find all of the money for everything. And one of the ways we've been finding has been successful is just using things like a DSLR camera that people have lying in their closet, and kind of retrofitting things so that they fit. And we'll include a little bit of those pointers. Also, if you have folks who might be willing to sponsor, like, please sponsor this switcher. It's $200. We need someone, in the bulletin, we're looking for someone to sponsor these things. And you could even put their little name on a little label maybe, and put that on, like, donated by, because people sponsor a lot of things, and they might sponsor being more connected in the pandemic.
Exactly. It's not just sponsoring a piece of technology. It is a way of connecting people and reaching your ministry to people that maybe you couldn't reach before, or people that have joined in the pandemic and are now part of this community of faith. So it's it's a lot. And
one of the best arguments for trying to do something hybrid, like live, all at the same time, is that once you kind of get your system set up, it is very easy to then pivot. Like, we've had a system that is very flexible, that we haven't had to worry about what the next health order is, because our system works regardless, right? Like, it's online, and we open the doors when people are allowed in. And, people who are at home can stay at home if they want, and when they're brave enough or able to come in person, they can. So I know that this might be like a push that is just so exhausting, or maybe that's just me, but there are reasons to kind of push for a better hybrid model, so that not everything has to be such a big deal, right? You get something set up, and then it just is. That's at least what we've found. And also we're tired.
Fewer headaches, hopefully.
Yeah, yes. Fewer headaches. So yeah, this is the little bit of a version of what we did. We will also try to include another little video of our tech, just in case you're geeky like that and you want to see what we're using. And the main thing I think to hear is that we are all in this together. We have a bunch of people who attended this workshop, and I'm sure they would also be open to sharing their knowledge. Tons and tons of brains all in one place, which is great.
Totally.
Great. There you go. There's our little summary video. Half an hour. Look at that. High five. Okay. See you later.
Thanks.
Bye.